right, so we're going to be covering a bunch of subjects. How many of you, I can't see the guys in the back here, get out of the light. How many of you know of Celsius or heard of Celsius? All right, talking to the converted. How many of you use Celsius? You have an account? Okay, great. How many of you were dealing with crypto before COVID? You were in crypto before COVID. All right, about a third. Excellent. So, you know, I think there is, we have all this talk about DeFi versus CeFi, but really the challenge or the fight is between traditional finance and the new world, right? So you're either on the other side, you're either in traditional finance, you're defending that turf, you're defending that castle, right? Or you're trying to change things, you're trying to make them better. Okay. All right. I didn't know you were talking to me. I was like, just thought I heard voices, you know, from the TradFi guys telling me to stop talking. So as you know, I've been very vocal. You know, I picked a lot of enemies in traditional finance. As I always joke that none of them invite me to their big parties in the Hamptons, you know, and none of it is even laughing at my dad jokes. Come on, guys. So look, what's happening in TradFi is appalling, right? Basically, since 1990, the Fed has been reflating our economy, right? Reflating. Anytime there was a problem, the Fed would come, catch up the falling knife, right? Put a safety net under the economy and reflate everything. Right now, why do we have an all asset bubble? It's because it doesn't matter who you are, right? The Fed saved you, right? When COVID started, the Fed came in, said, hey, as long as you can print some debt, you can issue some bonds, we, the Fed, will buy them. So it doesn't matter if you're a profitable company, it doesn't matter if you're a cruise company or an airline or a factory that shouldn't even exist, you get free money from the government, right? But most Americans didn't get that. Most Americans got a measly $1,200 check to keep everybody from rebelling, right? So the Fed printed $10 trillion with a T, $10 trillion in 2.5 years, or over 40% of all the money that ever existed in history. Okay, the Fed printed in 2.5 years, 40% of all the money that ever existed in history. Is that a lot? So, right, so money got diluted, they got debased by 40%. Did your salary go up by 40% in the last 2 years? So that's what none of us feel. You don't go to the bodega and suddenly all the prices are up 40%. We just got stolen, right? Basically, the Fed stole from all of us, right? We already paid our 50% in taxes. If you live in New York, 53%. And then the other half got diluted by 40%. But if you were on Wall Street, you got record bonuses, right? You got bailed out, right? So Wall Street flips a coin. It doesn't matter what it lands on. It's always heads. They always win. Why? Because the Fed bails them out. Or the Treasury bails them out. That's what we're here to change. That's what we're here to take away. Right now, you can go and change the laws. You can lobby. You can try to even infiltrate the system, go work from the inside and try to make Wall Street better. But as some of you, anyone here worked on Wall Street? Security, take them out. So on Wall Street, there's a funny saying, you know, if you want a friend, get a dog, right? Don't look for friends over there. Now, anyone here friendly? Are you guys friendly with each other? We are, right? We're all in it together. So that's what this is all about. It's about using this new set of rails, right, that Satoshi kind of showed us, right? We're all carrying the flag for Satoshi. That's all we're doing. Using new set of rails to create a new world, not fix the old world, right? And when you see Stani and you see all these other people innovating, right? These are all new rail. It's all infrastructure to build a new world. A world in which we get to set the rules, and hopefully we write. How many here are coders? All right, Celsius team, go hire all these guys. So if you can code, you can suddenly write new set of rules that actually is acting in the best interest of society. So take that $10 trillion. You guys are good in math, if you're coders. $10 trillion. How many Americans are eligible for that $1,200 check? Quick math. Let's see if you can pass the test. Throw a number. There's 330 million Americans. Less than 18, about 200, right? Less than 18 don't qualify, right? So it's about 200 million. 200 million times 1,200. Quick. Anyone? Quick. In your head. No calculators. 2.4 what? So where did the other 8 trillion went? Exactly. Now, how many of you did that math in your head when the Fed said we're going to throw all this money at all of you? Here, one guy. Hire him. Quick. So the point is that, again, the Fed, Federal Reserve, is neither federal or has any reserves. It's not federal agency. Do you know who owns the Fed? Banks. JP Morgan, every year, gets 12% of all the dividends that the Fed issues. So they're printing money for themselves, right? They're bailing out themselves with an institution they created to bail themselves out. Now, talking about a scam, talking about a Ponzi scheme, and all of us are paying for it. Because when the Fed prints 10 billion in what do you call it, in dollars, those are IOUs. Then all of us and our children have to pay that in taxes. That's how the system works. Right? Do we have IOUs in crypto, or there are IOUs in there aren't any, right? I mean, our system every year goes through basically a crash test, right? You heard the banks had to go through this stress test. You familiar with stress test with the banks? Obviously, the big one was 2008, right? They almost all went out of business. But since then, the Fed said, okay, we're going to create a fake stress test. We're going to simulate what happens if banks' balance sheet go down 20%. Right? Can they survive 20%? 20% in crypto is like every Saturday. You know? So May 2021, Bitcoin, Ethereum goes down more than 50%. Did the Fed come and bail us out? Did Treasury call and say, hey, you know, we need to come in and put a new Dodd-Frank or whatever? Right? Nothing. We all managed it, right? Celsius, for example, had zero liquidations. Zero liquidations. Zero counterparty defaults. Right? And we deal with 300 institutions. We have almost 30 billion out there. Right? So that is a stress test that the system can pass because it's running on a new set of rail. How many banks do you think in the world, not just in the United States, how many banks in the world can withstand a 50% drawdown? Zero. Zero. That is proof that the new system, the new set of rails, is the future, and what we call TradFi is already bankrupt. All right? So again, I'm thanking you guys, all of you, right, for building the future, being at the right place, at the right time. Right? That's why we are undercover in the Brooklyn warehouse and no one can find us. So look, anytime, this is a fight, this is war over all the money in the world. I was there in the beginning of the internet. You know, I don't look that old, but I was there working on voice of IP, the beginning of the internet, and I was fighting the phone companies. Do you think they wanted to just let us take voice and put it on the internet? They were charging us anyone remember NYNEX or Bell Atlantic? Only the old folks, okay? They charge us 50 cents to call somebody, local, and then $3 to call like somebody in Africa or somebody in Asia, $3 a minute. Anyone here is willing to pay $3 a minute to make a phone call? Right? That's the world we lived in. We took the power away from the phone companies and we gave it to the people, right? Most of you live on Zoom or Skype or WhatsApp or whatever. That is voice over IP and video over IP, right? So we took the power back. We created a new set of rails, and that's why we were successful, right? We took the power back. Same thing is now happening with finance. So back then we were fighting over email, we were fighting over voice, we were fighting over whatever, a dating app. Now we're fighting over all the money in the world and whether our children are going to keep paying for the 1%, paying taxes to fund the 1%. I'm part of the 1%. I'm part of the 0.01%. Right? People were surprised. They thought I'm going to show up on Zoom because I'm a billionaire, you know? But the point is, you're either with the people or you're with the 1%. You have to decide. Everybody has to decide. Doesn't matter how rich you are. You're either building the future or you're empowering TradFi, right? And most of the world, you're seeing it in Europe, you're seeing it everywhere else. They're basically trying to preserve the old system, right? They're saying, we don't need all your shit. We're going to use CBDCs, right? Look at China, look at Europe, right? Even the Fed right now is sitting there and saying, you know, the stablecoin thing is out of control, okay? We got to put a bear hug around it. So we're just at the beginning of the fight. You know, in the beginning, they ignore you, right? Then they laugh at you. They just finished laughing at us. They're just now starting to fight with us. We're just at the beginning of that fight. If you think it's just going to be sunny skies, walk in the park, you have no idea what's coming. I went through it with the phone companies. I testified in front of Congress in 1996. How many of you were born after 1996? Yes, thank you. That's a compliment. So I know I already seen that movie. I know how it ends. Okay, you guys think it's all great. Right now it's an up market. It's a great market. But that doesn't mean it's going to stay that way. So unless we all work together, so fighting with each other, we will win. If we don't, TradFi is just going to laugh all the way to the bank. And I pun intended. So what do I mean by fighting with each other? Let's talk about stuff. How many of you think that CeFi is bad and DeFi is good? Come on, you can raise your hand. It's fine. Right? So about 30% here are like, oh, CeFi. Okay, so you just saw a presentation from Stani. I love Stani. We talk all the time. What is Stani doing with Fireblocks? Is that CeFi or DeFi? CeFi, great. Is that good or bad? Good. Do you know who the first customer is for ARC? Celsius. Is that good or is that bad? It's good. So where is CeFi not helping the community? Let me ask you a different question. There's 8 billion people in the world. How many of them can interact with DeFi the way it looks today? Tell me, raise your hand if you think more than 1% on the planet can interact with DeFi. So 99, let me just finish the point. 99% of the population cannot interact with what we're trying to build. How are we going to win? Right? So what we need is a new set of rails and on-ramps, bridges, to bring all these people over. Now today, what we're building are this enclave, right, in the warehouse in Brooklyn that no one knows about, and no one's showing up to the party. That's what we're building today. And we're celebrating yield. We have all this APR, and we love it, right? We like, look at all the money I'm making, right? But that's not the fight. The fight is not over, can I squeeze 57% by farming? That's not the prize. The prize is, can you bring 8 people from TradFi to DeFi? That is the prize. You have a question? I answered it already. That's it. So look, the challenge today is that everyone is building their own castle. What is Solana? It's a castle. What is Ethereum? It's its own castle. What is Every one of these projects is its own castle competing for the few people that are already in DeFi. Come to me. I have a higher yield. I'm going to steal you. I'm going to vampire, steal your liquidity and bring it over here. And then the next guy says, oh, you're offering 18%. I'm going to offer 25% for 2 weeks. Come over here. Meanwhile, all the people are still in TradFi. You with me? All right. So let's talk about what we're trying to do, right? So obviously, what was the first project that allowed you to earn in a token? What was the first project that allowed you to earn in a token? Nope, Celsius. A year before Compound, a year before Aave, the first project ever to say, here is yield. You can earn it in kind. You can earn Bitcoin or Bitcoin, Ethereum or Ethereum, or you can earn it in a token. So who invented this industry? I'm going to compound the question and ask you again, okay? So again, it doesn't matter if it's CeFi or DeFi. What matters is that millions of people realize, gosh, there's our bank pays us 0.1%, and you can earn 10% on the other side. They don't know what it's called. They don't know what it means. All they know is 0.1 versus 10%. That's 100x, 100 times better. Now, these banks are not your friends, right? These banks are reporting all-time record profits. All-time record profits. JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, Morgan Stanley, Bank of America, you name them. Goldman Sachs, all of them reporting record all-time profits. But they're paying us less than ever. They've never paid us less. So if I'm the CEO of JP Morgan, can I take some of that profit and decide that the interest rate that I'm paying you on your money is 1% and still be profitable? Anyone did the math? JP Morgan last quarter made $22 billion in profit. Can they pay you 5% and still be profitable? Anyone? I did the math. So why aren't they paying us 5%? Why are they paying us 0.1%? Is anyone here screaming, throwing stones at their bank branches, going out there, fighting it out? Or are we all here just for yield? That's what this is all about. Are you here for the fight, or are you here just to enrich yourself? Okay, our slogan is do good first, do good, then do well. Do good, bring in a few million people, get them to join the party, get them to leave finance, and then you do well. Right? Celsius has 3 founders. We still hold over 90% of our tokens. How many people in DeFi still hold 90% of none of them are older than Celsius, since we were the first ones. How many people in DeFi still hold 90% of their tokens? Do you know a single project that you can tell me? So are you here to enrich yourself, or are you here to build the future? Right? So banks do everything. They have tremendous power, right? They do everything to slow us down. The largest lobbyists on Wall Street, banks. Now, where do the banks get their power? Anyone? You can get on stage. Come on, you can finish the presentation. Where is the source of power? You know, you play those computer games, right? You can always see where these villains have source of power. What? They get it from us. Our deposits are their oxygen. Every person we take from TradFi and move over and give them 10% is one less person giving their money to the banks. What happened to the phone companies when they stopped charging us 50 cents a minute? What happened to them? They all went and found a new business to do, right? The same thing is going to happen with the banks. If we all just build bridges and roads instead of castles. You with me? The room got very quiet. Got pretty serious pretty quick here. So Celsius X, how many of you know about Celsius X? CelsiusX.io. Not Celsius employees not allowed to raise your hand. Anyone? Okay, so what Celsius is trying to do, CelsiusX.io is the website, or go to YouTube and look at those few videos that we posted, is to build roads and bridges between all the castles. Doesn't matter what castle you are, right? You can natively, not through a smart contract, natively mint, issue, and destroy value across different blockchains. No fees. Many of you raised your hands before saying you use Celsius. Have you ever paid a fee on Celsius? Anyone? Raise your hand. How about a gas fee? Nope. No gas fees on Celsius. We pay your gas fee when you withdraw. You confusing us with Compound or Aave. There is no fees on Celsius. We don't charge fees. So I don't know. You got confused maybe with Nexo or somebody else. Zero fees. Okay. We pay your withdrawal fee. We paid $18 million in withdrawal fees. $18 million on your behalf when you withdraw from Celsius. Why? Because if you want to win against TradFi, who's charging a fee for inactivity fee, right? Overdraft fee. Just the lunacy, right? You take a mortgage, they tell you, okay, your rate is going to be whatever, 4%. But when you use your credit card, they tell you your rate is whatever, $9.95. You charge something, you go over your limit, boom, it's $29.95. How is that legal? Right? All of us experience that. So again, if we want to build a new world, then we have to do the opposite. What does Celsius do? We charge institutions fees. The same guys who steal from you, we charge them fees, and we pay to the community. Do you know anyone in crypto that has this business model? So we charged, in the last 4 years, we charged institutions $1 billion, actually $1.2 billion, and we paid the community $1 billion. $1 billion. That's more than all the other guys put together. So who else has that business model? Do you know anyone in crypto that charges the banks, the hedge funds, the institutions fees and pays them to the community? Or all the yield we're creating is through inflation, just like the Fed. When you mint tokens and you put a yield on it and you say, oh, you're going to earn 18%. Are you actually earning that? Or are you just creating inflation of money, of your own money? So you can earn yield in two different ways. You can earn it by having somebody pay for you for it, pay for a service you provide, for example, like lending, or you can create it through inflation. That's what the Fed does. So do we want to build what Wall Street does? Fees and inflation and all that shit? Because that's what it seems we're doing. We keep copying models from Wall Street, bringing them over to this new set of rails that was supposed to take 8 billion people to financial freedom. Got quiet pretty quick. I don't think they'll ever invite me again to this conference. These are simple things, simple questions, simple answers. And yet, who are we celebrating? We're celebrating the people who charged us the most fees. I'm the only one talking about it. CZ charged you guys over $10 billion in fees. We're celebrating him. He charged you fees. All the other guys charge you billions in fees and then put their name on a stadium. And we're celebrating them. Look, this guy is so successful. Where are they successful? Are they charging institutions money or they're charging you money? Including fees on DeFi. Fees everywhere. Fees that no one on Wall Street charges. You cannot charge 7% on buying a stock or a bond. But yet Coinbase charges you that on every transaction. So we're supposed to bring 8 billion people and we charge them more than anyone does on Wall Street. The worst guys, the guys we hate. We do worse than them. And yet people are arguing with me that Celsius is charging a fee. That's how little you know. Nothing. So that's on us. That's not on him. That's on us for not clarifying, not explaining to people what we're here for. Again, you're here to get rich quick. Okay? It took me 30 years to become an overnight success. You want to get rich quick? Go ahead. Not here. Not in this industry. Go find yourself something else to do. TradFi has plenty of empty desks and offices. Go back there. All right? So again, this is not about Celsius. This is about us. Are we going to go into the future and bring everybody with us to the finish line? Or are we just going to have like a sideshow and some game that we played for a few years, creating fake yield from inflation? NFT is exactly the same thing, right? All of us selling crap to each other, hoping that some newbie is going to come and pay us 200 ETH for it. That's not value creation. That's not building an industry. That's not moving the world forward. So it's okay to experiment, but let's talk about the fundamentals, right? What are we here for? All right, so the world has never had this. Look, I'm an extremely lucky guy. Most people don't get to do this twice in their lives. Be at the right place at the right time and be able to be part of the future. You guys, this is the future right here. Do you want China has right now has 200 million people using the digital yuan. By the Winter Olympics, they'll have over 1 billion people using the digital yuan. You think they're waiting for you? And they're going to propagate it worldwide because they want to kill the dollar. Okay? So this is a fight between TradFi, people who want to come and dominate the world with something crazy, right? Communism and whatever you want to call it, and us fighting for that future. Right? And we are futzing around trying to figure out how we do whatever, 15% yield. Oh, I was farming this token, and then I did this, and then I jumped into that, and hey, I had the rug pool over there, and I had this, and I had that. What does that do? Does that build anything? All right. So, questions. All right, go ahead. Why? Do you have an account with Robinhood? Great. What does Robinhood do? They give you the trade for free. What do? They take your stock. They give it to whom? They do SEC lending, securities lending. They lend you Tesla. Do you know how much Tesla stock earns from just SEC lending? 25% a year. That's the IRR on Tesla. Did Robinhood send you a check at the end of the year saying, thank you? What's your name? First name? Michael. Michael, thank you. Thank you for buying that Tesla and taking all the risk. We lent it out to Citadel, to all these guys. We made a killing. You took all the risk. We made all the money. Do you get that check? It's lasted for 200 years on Wall Street. What's the safest business on Wall Street? The business that no one has ever went out of business in 200 years. Do you know a single bank, a single institution that blew up because they did SEC lending? Zero. Safest business on Wall Street. So all we did at Celsius, we took the safest business on Wall Street, brought it into crypto, charged the institutions for something they used to get for free. You used to give your money to exchanges for free. They used to do exactly what Robinhood does. Robinhood this year made over $600 million just from order flow to Citadel. Did they send you a check because of that? Did they say, oh, you know, thanks, Michael. You were trading every day. You're a day trader. We love you. You know, we made money every time you buy, every time you sell. It doesn't matter if you made money, you lost money. We made money. And we kept it all to ourselves. And you feel great because the company's name is Robinhood. So who's the real Robinhood? They or Celsius? We have on the blockchain. You can go on Celsius. We have a product called Rewards Explorer. It's ZK proofs of everything we're doing. You can audit everything we're doing. You can see that we gave $1 billion to our community. All right? Do you know any company in history, 700 years of banking, since the Medicis in Italy, that paid their community this much money? We paid more than Bank of America this year. We plan to do that next year and the year after and so on. It's a different business model. It's a business model for the people. Now, a lot of you are skeptic. Of course you're going to be skeptic because no one has ever fucking done this before. No one was stupid enough to take $1 billion and instead of putting it in their pocket, give it to the fucking community. I mean, come on. So this is about the business model. Can you be successful doing good first and then doing well? Do you know any company that has this business model, doing good first and then doing well? Throw a name. Is anyone not charging fees? Is anyone charging the banks and the institutions fees and then giving it to their community? Anyone? Anyone in finance? There's tens of thousands of companies in finance. We just raised $750 million from the 7th largest pension fund in the world, CDPQ, and Westcap, one of the best investors in the world. Right? Do you think they scrubbed everything and realized if it's good or bad? They were skeptic too. They spent 6 months scrubbing everything to make sure that this business model works. Again, I'm here asking you to copy my business model. I'm asking you, I'm begging you, copy my fucking business model. Don't copy TradFi. You had a question. Yeah. We're going to defy the odds and prove to everybody that using DeFi on Celsius is safer than doing it yourself for that 8 billion people. If you got insurance with Nexo Mutual, did they pay or they didn't pay? They didn't pay. Did Celsius pay or they didn't pay? Did Celsius pay its community the $50 million that it lost on Badger? Yes or no? Come on. Yes? Yes. Great. So DeFi protocol fucked up, but CeFi paid. Let me repeat that. Wait a second. A fucking DeFi protocol was supposed to pay, didn't pay, but CeFi paid 100 cents on the dollar without having insurance. Did you buy insurance on Celsius? No. So you tell me, what's better? Now, Badger is going to pay us back. They're going to pay us over time. We are supporters of Badger. We issued public statements. We support DeFi. We support Stani. Do you know who's the largest lender and borrower on Aave is? Celsius. Do you know who's the largest borrower and lender on Compound is? Celsius. Who's the largest anything on any DeFi? Celsius. 30 billion of liquidity. Now, when Aave says they have 20 billion, that includes our billion. But on Celsius, we don't double count or triple count anything. We just count coins our community gave us to manage for them, to make sure that they're safe, to put the community first. Do you know anyone else that does that? So again, the challenge is not, I'm not trying to convince you to leave DeFi and come to CeFi. The challenge is, can we bring 8 billion people from TradFi over or not? And that's not what you guys are working on. I'm sorry. You know, you think I can fight the banks by myself? I can't. Another credit union that doesn't pay? No, I'm just kidding. I couldn't help myself. We are a credit. What is Celsius? 1.5 million people who bunch together to be big enough to force institutions to pay us for Bitcoin, for Ethereum, for Litecoin, for doesn't matter what project. 1 inch. Pay us. Pay us. That's a credit union. But if I call myself a credit union, you know what happens? The feds show up and say, where's your license? Who allowed you to walk around here and call yourself a credit union? Right? So the challenge is, can we create a future in which we act in our best interest, right? And we collect the $22 billion that JP Morgan charges us as a toll collector. Can we collect all of that? Right? That is the challenge. Can we create that? Again, we did. Copy freely. Copy all day long, or come join us, whatever. But let's build a future in which we're all winning against TradFi instead of winning against each other. If you're on Solana and you're stealing people from Ethereum, how the fuck does that help anybody else? All those people that got the $1,200 check, how does it help them? Doesn't do shit. I hope they're going to edit all that out when they publish this. Go ahead. You live in New York? No, where do you live? Tennessee. Okay. I have a house in Memphis. What was the last time you've seen a new bank open up? A new credit union, a new bank? No, it hasn't happened. The big banks, why is JP Morgan paying you 0.1%? Because they bought all the little guys, they bought all the credit unions, and they got and they got the regulators to issue Dodd-Frank. That's 60,000 pages of regulation. 60,000 pages. I'm not making it up. To make sure that no one gets a new fucking license. So they close the doors behind them. They bought all the little guys, and they make sure no one joins. You cannot get a license. You think you can just go and get a credit union license? You can't. You can't. They closed the door. They passed so much regulation that for anyone to qualify, you have to spend like $100 million to open a new credit union. Who's gonna spend that kind of money? So we found a loophole. Okay, we found a loophole in which if we all pull together with digital assets, we can't do it with dollars. I cannot take dollar deposits. That's illegal. I need that credit union or banking license charter. But digital assets, hey, the SEC and the CFTC already made a mistake, right? They showed their cards. They called Bitcoin and Ethereum not a security, a commodity. The minute it's a commodity, boom, I can do it without them, right? So now all we have to do is drive a truck through that fucking thing. Can we drive a fucking truck through it, an 18-wheeler, or are we going to futz around with our 3-wheel vehicles? That's what we have to do. Drive a truck through it. What does it mean, a truck through it? 100 billion in assets, 500 billion in assets. Half of Americans owning it. So when they try to shut it down, all of us are going to say, oh, really? We're just going to replace you. You're not going to get elected next year. That's the power. And stop depositing. Stop giving money to all these banks. Unbank yourself. They're going to think you're a plant because you're asking all the questions. We don't have a blockchain. If we're going to enable everybody else, then we don't need to create another blockchain. You have a blockchain, you're a castle. We already have over 200 blockchains. Do we need another one? It's faster. It's prettier. It hops on one leg. Finish your question. Sorry. Not smart contracts. Okay? You can hack them, you can steal from them, you can rug pull from them. How about native? Native. Something appears on one blockchain, we wrap it, and it appears somewhere else. Boom. You want it on Solana? Here, it's on Solana. You want it on Cardano? Here, it's on Cardano. Instant. Credit proof. Right? Instant settlement. Native. We already operate on 16 blockchains and 45 different assets. Anything you want on any chain, poof, it appears there. Isn't that better? Pretty sweet. Take a look at it, celsiusx.io. Okay, so again, open source. You guys copy it all day long. You want to launch it and call it Sushi Swap? Go ahead. You're in the wrong conference. It's in Manhattan. They serve nice drinks over there. Kidding, just kidding. Yes. No. Let me explain to you why China banned everything that has to do with Bitcoin or crypto assets. China's policy is we're going to bring all of our people together to the finish line, similar to what I'm talking about, but in a different way. If you're running ahead of the pack and you became a billionaire, we're going to chop your head off, take all your money, and give it back to all the people. You're running behind, we're going to put you in some institutions because you're slowing everybody down. Okay? You're trying to do some innovative stuff that we don't agree with, we're going to exile you or take it away from you. So they have a digital yuan. That's the only thing. It's a CBDC. It's not on a blockchain. It's not like they created a fork of Solana or something. It's not a blockchain. It's just a giant database behind a firewall. They can issue you digital yuan and tell you have to spend it by Friday on food. And if you spend it on gambling, we're going to take all your money from your account. And if you don't spend it by Friday, we take it anyway. That is a digital yuan running on a centralized database. It sounds good. It's CBDC. It must be real good. But you have to dig into the details. There's no validators. There's no nodes. There's no proof of work or proof of stake. There's only one proof. Proof that the Chinese government is going to make all the decision. So for that to win, they have to clear the way for all other competitors, not just DeFi. China banned transactions with the government in US dollars. You cannot buy and sell with the Chinese government, and they're more than half of all the transactions. If you come and you write a contract in US dollars, I'll pay you in US dollars, I'll buy from you in US dollars. Even mighty Apple, right, the most profitable company in the world, most valuable company in the world, agreed to pay China $268 billion with a B, billion, over the next 10 years. They bowed down and said, okay, we need to stay in China. What do we need to do? Okay, how about you spend $268 billion in our country? Meaning, whatever you make here, you cannot take out. That's Apple. That was in the news. Use your Google. Did you notice that? Okay, so no dollars, no foreign companies taking earnings out, no Bitcoin, no mining, no shit. You do what we want or you disappear. That's China. I was born in a communist country. I know how it is. I was born in the Ukraine, was part of the USSR. Okay, so this is not a game. And this is all of humanity, right? We're fighting over the future of humanity. Money is the future of humanity. And you guys are futzing around with farming. Bitcoin consumes a lot of energy. Okay, all the other things put together, all of crypto put together, besides of Bitcoin, consumes less than Visa or MasterCard or any of the companies you already use every day. Consumes all the nothing. That is, if you read the PR, the negative PR that banks and other guys issue because they want to scare people, then that's what happens. Right. So let's talk about velocity of money. Anyone here knows what velocity of money means? Few people. All right. Huh? Right. So the US dollar had a 2.6 velocity. This is how many times it's turning. How many times the dollar is being used? 2.6, 1990. Right now it's 1.2. A dollar turns barely one time a day. Barely. It's lazy. It doesn't wake up in the morning. It drinks a coffee at 12 o'clock. What's the velocity of money in DeFi? You guys are all DeFi. Come on. You don't know shit. Just because you can write a few lines of code, rehypothecating everybody else's code, doesn't make you smart. You got to know what makes DeFi special. Velocity of money makes DeFi special. Velocity of dollars, stable coins on DeFi 22 times. It's a spinning wheel flying super fast, 20 times faster than our regular economy. Why do you think the Fed is afraid of it? Why do you think the Fed is trying to put a bear hug around stable coins? Oh, we got to do this. Oh, we got to do that. Right? Now, it's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. This is an amazing thing. If I was a Fed chairman and I actually cared about the people, I would say, wow, finally, we found a real use case for dollars. Let's make that wheel bigger. It might actually save the entire US economy, just like we did with the internet. We bailed out the entire US economy by creating the top companies in the world: Apple, Google, Microsoft, Netflix, Amazon. Right? Our economy today is based on that stupid invention called the internet. You know who started the internet? Not Al Gore. Who started the internet? Huh? US government. This guy's super smart. What's your name? Aaron. AAA, Aaron. 10 blessings, Aaron. No, I'm serious. Like, the US government started a DARPA project, Department of Defense project, funded how to make sure our communication networks survive a nuclear bombardment in case the Russians try to blow us up. And that was the internet. I was on that network. There were only 6 nodes. The entire internet was 6 nodes in 1990. Right? We already built it. Again, we've seen the movie before. Let us do it again. American ingenuity. Let's lead the world. Instead of people from Stockholm telling us what it should be. I love study. I'm just making a joke. Okay? So we are seriously like the blind person trying to cross a highway. Oops, let's see if I get hit. You know? Oh, I'm going to get some yield over here. Oh, I didn't get scammed. Okay, how are we here? Oh, rug pull. Oh, a hack. That's not the future, guys. So Celsius has one leg in DeFi and one leg in CeFi. And I was dancing all night. Ask Tat. Where's Tat? Here. We had a party last night. We were dancing. We're kicking ass, right? So this is not hard. Nothing I said today is hard. Just a question. Do you have a spine? Do you have a heart? And are you going to go and try to make the world a better place? Or are you just going to try to enrich yourself? That is the decision we have to make. Great point. You're way ahead of everybody else here. Voice of IP. Okay, do you know how I built Voice of IP for? It was a project for the Commerce Department mandating AT&T to eliminate bilateral payments to KDD and Deutsche Telekom and British Telecom And they asked for someone to find a way to put voice not on bilateral communication lines. And when we built it, just like the internet, they said, hey, you can't sell it to anyone else. I said, read my contract. It doesn't say that. We're actually going to give it to everybody for free. That's how it happened. 1994. Okay, so 30 years later, to your point, you're great. 30 years later, 40% of the world is still paying the phone company. All they have to do is download an app and talk to anyone on the planet for free. That's how long it takes. And that's voice. Now we're asking people to trust us with all their money. Do you think it's going to take faster, less time, or more time? So this is going to take a long, long time. I'm in it. I'm ready to fight for the next 30 years. Are you? Or you already sold all your tokens? It's not funny. I wish it was funny. It's not funny. Again, we won in voice over IP because in 1 year, 100 million people showed up and started using VoIP like this because the adoption was so easy. Here, the adoption is a bitch. Convincing people, they come in, then we steal from them, we hack them, we charge them fees, and they go back. They take the plane back, right? From crypto land back to fiat land. That's what's happening every day. Do you know how hard it is to bring one of those people over? They come in, they land on crypto.com or FTX, doesn't matter what company it is. They get charged fees like crazy, spreads like crazy, right? Boom, they go back. Because they lose 90% of the time, right? I just saw on Cointelegraph, there was an article that said if you were farming, there's a 56% chance you didn't make any money because you don't understand that between the impermanent loss and the fees and all the trading stuff and the spreads and everything else, you didn't make any money in coin terms. In dollars, you think you made money, but if you just sat on the sidelines and hodled, you would do better than farming. So that is not a world in which 8 billion people join us. Okay? That's the problem. Okay, so I'm here. I know every other speaker is going to tell you how the world is great and how we're killing it and everything else. I'm telling you that, again, we finished with they ignore you. We finished with they laugh at you. We're at the they're going to fight you stage. I'm fighting. You see me on TV saying bad things about banks and Facebook and everybody else. Right? What are you doing? Fiat on-ramp? I love them all. Anything that takes a fiat and converts it into crypto, Circle, doesn't matter what it is, right? They're all great, right? I love the ones that don't charge anything better, but all of them are great, right? It doesn't matter. They've been around long enough that they're pretty safe. There's no issue. The issue is not there. The issue is in the business model. Do we have a business model that empowers our community? Voice over IP. Anyone here paid anything to WhatsApp? Anyone? So why don't we have that in crypto? Because Michael thinks that that's not a business model. He says, sooner or later, you have to charge the customer. No, you don't. Look, let me say it differently, okay? What's the most volatile asset class in the world? Crypto. Who pays for volatility? Why do institutions come to Celsius and say, I'll take $1 billion worth of Bitcoin? What are they doing? They're outsourcing to you. They're saying, hey, you want to take the volatility on Bitcoin? Wow, you are a crazy motherfucker. I'll take that because you're lending me your Bitcoin. I can do arbitrage, market making. No matter what happens, I make money. You took the volatility. If Bitcoin drops 50%, you lost 50%. I, the institution, didn't lose anything. So you're charging me 10% a year for that? Wow, that's a great deal. I'm happy to pay you for that. That's what they're doing. Because it's the most volatile asset. Now, today, all of us are eating that volatility, right? We toss, we turn, we wake up at 4 a.m. and check the price, right? For free. Why? Because we gave our coins to Coinbase or to FTX or to anybody else who is lending it or using it for liquidity for free. You taking the risk, they make all the money. So how about we charge for that, for the most volatile asset in the world? Again, that's all Celsius is doing. We lend them your assets. We have 1.5 million people. We pull together 115,000 Bitcoin. Does Michael Saylor has 115,000 Bitcoin? Who has more than 115,000 Bitcoin? Can you raise your hand and tell me? Sorry? Belgium. Satoshi, right? Who else? Very few people. So we already created a community bank. We already created that credit union. And we're charging other people fees. It's better than a credit union. All we have to do is take that business model and convince as many of those 8 billion people to leave, because when they leave, we hurt the banks, right? The banks have less liquidity. They have less money to steal from us. And we have more liquidity and more money in DeFi. Yeah, so regulators are not bad people. Okay, who do the regulators represent? Us. Exactly. So if we can convince them that we're safe, that we're acting in the best interest of our customers, that we're doing good, do you think they will hurt us or do you think they'll empower us? But that's not what you hear all over the news, right? So what does the regulator want to know? The regulator wants to say, okay, do you know what you're doing? Who is on your team? Okay, what are your reserves? What are you doing with, let's see what happened on May 21st, 2021. I want to dig in to see what happened. Did you liquidate half of your community? Binance, how many liquidations did they have? 10 million people got liquidated in May of 2021, just on Binance. 10 million. We, the community, lost 10 million people who went back to TradFi. They got burned. They got wiped out. Now we have to get a new, fresh harvest. How many people got liquidated on Celsius on May of 2021? 0. Celsius had its most profitable month. We made $55 million in the month of May. Why? Because the volatility was skyrocketing. We charged 120% a year for Ethereum loans. You want a loan in this volatility? Great, pay up. Again, we proved this again and again and again. I'm telling you, copy freely. But build something that we can actually build the future with instead of something that just is a mirror image of TradFi. How do I get? I'm here in front of consumers on a Sunday. Believe me, my wife is not happy. Look, back to regulations, because I didn't really answer his question, okay? Regulators don't understand what's happening in DeFi. They don't. They're worried about KYC. They're worried about AML. They're worried about all this other stuff. Now, Aave, for example, solves a lot of it, right? It makes it kind of like permission, makes it regulated. But we solved it at Celsius X, right? We basically said, look, we're going to issue all these assets. We actually don't care who exchanged them. But if you want to pull them out, you got to do KYC. Okay? So you want to come in, you got to do KYC. You want to pull them out and you're not a member of this community, we don't want a bad apple in the basket. That's all we're asking you for. Just show us you're not a bad apple. Why? Because we want this business model to scale, right? So that's what regulators want to see. Now, is the United States abusing the dollar, weaponizing the dollar, using it to dictate to the rest of the world what's going to happen? Yes. But that is a much better option than the Chinese yuan, believe me. So all of us, instead of fighting it and saying, oh, we're going to be anarchists and whatever, you know what the date range where anarchists rule crypto? 2008 to 2010. That's it. So we got to move on. Right now, again, when we formed Celsius, one of the first things we did, we went to FinCEN and registered. We went to the SEC and registered. We went to the IRS and registered. Here we are. This is what we do. Here's our address. I live in New York. I have 6 kids. Do you think I can take a risk like that? Go on Nexo website. Try to find their address. Call them. Try to call them. Send them a message. Say, hey, where are you guys? Where are you located? So you have to know, not everybody is the same. Not every person is the same. Some people are here doing all the right things from the beginning, and some people are here just to steal from you. You have to know who's who. And the regulator, especially the SEC, Gensler, who was teaching crypto in MIT, doesn't know who's a good actor and who's a bad actor. He's having a hard time figuring out who's a real good actor and who just is waiting for a rug pull. The end game, 8 billion people using crypto. I dropped the mic. My goal is not to put the banks out of business. My goal is to pull so much out of them that they have to copy your business model. What happened to AT&T? Did they go out of business? No. They give you unlimited voice for free. What is that? That's voice over IP. They don't. No, look, does Citadel, when will Citadel stop paying for order flow and for SEC lending? When the cows come home, you know, for the guy from Tennessee. If you don't know what that means, you can ask him. Next question. I think we're running out of time, right? How are we doing? I exhausted all the questions? Look, guys, okay, this is very simple. Okay, do good, then do well. It's either in your heart or it's not. If you're sitting here and you're saying, this guy's an idiot. Okay, I'm a fucking billionaire. How many times did a billionaire get on stage and gave you advice? A billionaire several times over. This is my 3rd unicorn. Do you know what a unicorn is? I had a unicorn when there were maybe 10 of them in the United States. I invented voice over IP. I gave it for free. This is a reoccurring theme. You see the notice? Anyone here using the subway? Great. Do you remember the day you got 5 bars in the subway when you were in the station? Do you remember that day? Who gave it to you? Who built that? My company. Did you pay for it or you got it for free? Do you think it was easy to convince the 5 largest phone companies in the United States to spend $300 million to give you 5 bars? We got them to pay again and again and again. So all I'm telling you is, again, I'm not doing it for myself. I don't need more money in my bank. Okay? I want to win one more time. Together. Not just for us, but also for humanity. Look, I came to this country with nothing. I came here with a plastic bag and $100. Right? I was lucky. I was good. I was smart. Put all of it together. 8 startups. One after the next, like this. Do you know anyone that did 8 startups, 3 unicorns? Anyone? You just didn't hear about me because I don't brag a lot. Besides today. But now it's important. It's seriously, it's life or death. I came from communism, okay? I'm screaming off the top of the rooftops, telling you guys, this is important. This is the future for everybody. We either win it together and we create a beautiful future for everyone, or we lose it and we look like China. The Fed wants to create a CBDC to compete with China. What does that do to all of us? What do you think? We're dead, kaput, right? They're not going to allow anything we're doing if they decide to go CBDC. So we got to quickly show them that we can fight that fight, that we can win against China together. instead of throwing darts at each other, right? Like idiots. Solana, oh, it's the best thing in the world. Oh no, tomorrow it's whatever, some new Elrond. No, it's Elrond. No, it's whatever. It's no, we're back to Ethereum. It's amazing. Yay. Hop, 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 hop. No value created. No one's going to join you from TradFi. Yes. I said before, I was testifying to Congress. I gave them a very emotional speech, and they actually listened. They passed a law that said to AT&T, no one is giving you exclusive rights, AT&T. You are a monopoly just because we allowed you to become a monopoly. But we're going to allow these internet guys to do whatever they want. Let's see if it works. That's what happened. The regulators and the lawmakers are going to do that again. But we have to show them we're good actors. We have to show them we care for other people. And we're not just here to enrich ourselves. If we're here to enrich ourselves, they're not going to want to help us. And I can't come by myself and say, do good, do good. You know, like, oh yeah, Alex. All right, we're out of time. Last question. Celsius X is multi-collateral loans. It's February 15th launch. Again, we want to collaborate with every project, every blockchain. We are king makers. We have all the liquidity you need. We can poof, make you a king, like a Dusty Fair, you know, like a fairy dust. Sorry, Dusty Fair. That's a new series. Poof, and you have 300 million or 500 million liquidity. Anyone here wants liquidity? Poof, $1 billion in liquidity. Right. 2020. Anyone here was born in 2020? Just kidding. 2020, the best token in the world, the best asset class in the best crypto in the world. Anyone? Who outperform everybody else in 2020? Oh, silence in the room. Cell token up over 4,000%. Do a search on your Google, Masari space Celsius. If you trust Masari, right? So why? We invented DeFi. Nothing big, just invented the second killer app in crypto. The first killer app, store of value. Second killer app is yield. Now I'm trying to take it in the right direction, but most of the community wants to just farm all day long and smoke weed. I don't know what they want to do. Okay, I'm actually trying to build something. I hope you hear it sincerely from my voice. Okay? Voice over IP, no. All right, guys, thanks. I'll be here. I'll try to be here for a few hours. And if you want to work with us, again, there's a bunch of Celsius guys. You want to raise your hand? Just who's from Celsius? There's a bunch of people here. If you want to talk to us, we're here to work with you, make the world a better place. Thank you. And thanks for all your hard work.